Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So this is a quick video. Um, this morning I was watching this Nick Cannon video where he interviewed this brother from the Nation of Islam, and they were talking about interracial relationships and just about this idea of black men and their desire to be with white women. So I want to take some time to talk about this issue. I'm going to summarize some of the points that they made in their particular video. There will be a link in the description box to the video so that you can watch it for yourself and judge it for yourself. But I'm going to share my screen so that you'll know exactly which video I'm talking about. And then I'm going to get right into it and summarize some of the key points that were raised. So here is the video. It's entitled, "Do Black Men Love White Women More Than Black Women?" And, you know, he has this brother from the Nation of Islam on here. And he starts out this discussion by asking, why can't I be with a white woman? And then he talked about how, you know, when black men are with white women, they have black children. You know, he talked about how, you know, so it shouldn't matter. So if a black man is with a white woman, it really shouldn't matter because they're going to have a black child. So that was one of the points that Nick Cannon made during this discussion. He also talked about how white women are looked at as a symbol of success. And the reason why he made that argument is because he said for the longest time, black men could be murdered or beaten for trying to be with a white woman. And now that black men are free from slavery, free from Jim Crow and all that kind of stuff, they want these white women. You know, they had the money to afford them, so they feel like they're entitled to have these white women, you know, something that was denied to them for many years under Jim Crow and under slavery. So they see this as a sign or a symbol of success, as a symbol of being free and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, then he talked about like how he viewed this as being able to go over, you know, or supersede the oppression that black people suffer by being able to take the white man's woman. Like that's some kind of sign of being empowered. That's some kind of sign of being liberated, being able to actually be with the white man's woman. And, you know, the brother from the Nation was talking about how it was the black woman that was with the black man, you know, during the black man's oppression. And it's the black woman that suffers. You know, it's the black women that are, you know, least married and all this kind of stuff, you know, the least respected member of society. And we need to be there for the black woman. So that's one of the points that he made in this particular discussion. You know, he also talked about how it was the same black woman that same white woman that helped perpetuate slavery. You know, this is the same white woman that this, you know, that black men are trying to seek. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit later, you know, talk about my position on that. And, you know, the brother was basically asking, why are you going to give your money and your wealth and, you know, your love to somebody that doesn't have any connection with you or your people? You know, like a lot of times when these people get married to these white women, you know, the white women inherits their wealth. Their wealth is going to a white family and stuff like that. So that was one of the points that the brother from the Nation of Islam raised. And, you know, then Nick Cannon went on to say, like, why can't he have both? Like, why can't he uplift, you know, the black community and be with these white women? It's like this guy was going out of his way to coon for these white women, like constantly, you know, emphasizing this need to be with the white woman, or this idea that it's somehow there's some kind of rationalization for this black man to be with the white woman. And I just thought it was ridiculous, the mental gymnastics that this brother was going through to justify interracial relationships, to try to explain away these interracial relationships and, you know, try to rationalize being in the interracial relationship while being, quote unquote, concerned about the black community and trying to help the black community out. I mean, when I think about white women and, you know, the history of black people in this country, I think about the fact that it was the same white woman that lied on black men, you know, lied about black men trying to touch them or trying to rape them or trying to make advances towards them. And it was those white lies that destroyed black lives. You know, white lies that led to the lynching of the brother Emmett Till, where this brother was beaten beyond recognition. That's the white woman you want to be with? This brother was beaten to the point that his face was swollen and distorted and grotesque. He was unrecognizable as a result of that lynching. And we've seen countless examples throughout history where black men were lynched because of allegations, often false allegations from white women about black men looking at a white woman or approaching a white woman or touching a white woman. Black men strung up in trees because of this. Black men shot because of this. Black men burned on fire because of this. And it wouldn't just stop at the individual black man that was accused of making advances toward a white woman. Many towns were burned to the ground over these types of allegations. We saw what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Black Wall Street destroyed. We saw what happened in Rosewood, where you had a whole town destroyed over some sexual allegations against a black man. Damn lies. This is the white woman you want to be with? The white woman that lied on a black man? That, you know, helped lead to the destruction of black lives and black communities? It's the same damn white woman that stood by the white man when he enslaved black people, when he worked black people without compensation, when he beat black people, raped black people. That white woman was right by that white man's side when he was oppressing our people. That white woman was right by the white man's side when he was segregating us, humiliating us, lynching us, and burning us. All you have to do is go look at those photos from the segregation era. Look at those photos from the segregation era, the Jim Crow era. You will see that it was white women in that crowd, you know, yelling at black people who were trying to integrate a school, yelling at black children trying to go to a high school, yelling at black people and, you know, participating in the oppression of black people when black people were trying to desegregate restaurants, sitting at lunch counters. It was white people and white women in that crowd when they were throwing food on black people and pushing and shoving black people for simply trying to exercise their equal and civil human rights in this country. It was the white woman by this white man's side. And there's a white woman by this white man's side today when these police kill us. There's white women out there, you know, defending these pigs that kill our people, rationalizing the killing of our people. But yet you got these ignorant Negroes, these fake woke people defending this stuff, you know, trying to rationalize their desire to be with their oppressor's woman. It's insane. And then you have these people, you know, all this hell that our women have been through. You know, the hell of being, you know, oppressed, you know, raped and abused by this system. And you're going to pile on top of that abuse by getting with your enemy's woman. And you think that's progress? You think abandoning the black woman is progress? When you have like all these black men leaving the black community behind, that leaves black women behind. You can't build a strong community without strong black families, man. And too often these brothers, they get some money and they get some wealth, some status, and the first thing that they do is get out here and run to the white woman, the same white woman that oppressed black people, that participated in the oppression of black people. You know, the white man has guns, he has tanks, he has bombs, he has airplanes and boats and all that kind of stuff to wage war. And here you have this pathetic black man thinking that he can fight a war with his penis. He thinks he can defeat white supremacy and racism with his penis by laying down with his damn enemy. That epitomizes thinking with your lower head. You don't destroy white people by laying down with white people. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, all this talk about like how You know, it's going to be genetic annihilation of white people. It's also going to be genetic annihilation of black people as well. When you lay down with, you know, your enemy and stuff, when you lay down with the white woman, that's going to be annihilation of you. You know, if you look at a lot of these families, like a lot of these situations, you know, these children don't even resemble you when you lay down with these white people. You know, their complexion is lighter, they have European style features. And then often what you will have in a lot of these situations is that the biracial child ends up marrying white or ends up marrying somebody else that's non-black. And what that does is it further dilutes your black lineage, your African lineage. It gets to a point where you're barely even black, and then eventually you're virtually white. Your line is virtually white. I've seen this happen. You know, where you have a man, you know, his whole line is eliminated. Like the blackness in his heritage is eliminated, and his whole line eventually becomes virtually white. That's annihilation for both groups of people. That's not, empowering black people, or, you know, going back to the quote unquote original and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that that whole mentality just perpetuates this kind of situation where you had this fake woke person over here foaming at the mouth over white women. I mean, I wish this brother was as energized when talking about black women. It's like, why are so many, it's like so many of our people have been programmed to believe that this white woman is the standard of beauty. And that's why they go through these types of mental gymnastics to justify their lust and their desire to be with this white woman. You know, this guy basically admitted that he views these white women as some kind of status symbol. And then many black men view white women like that. Because all our life we've been taught that they're the standard of beauty. We've been taught that light skin is better. We've been taught that European features are better. We've been taught that long, straight hair is better than African hair. Taught that straight noses are better than wide African noses. Taught that thinner lips are more attractive than fuller lips. We've been programmed to think like this. So it's no wonder that you got brothers talking like this, man. Going out of their way to defend their lust for the white woman. The same white woman that participated in your oppression, and the same white woman that continues to participate in your oppression. Where's your pride? Where's your love for your own? The black woman is a reflection of you. And if you don't love the black woman, you don't love yourself. And, you know, sadly, a lot of these people don't see that. You know, they talk about how love should go beyond race and all that kind of stuff like that. You know, love is not just an emotional decision. Like, it's a conscious decision that people make. People make a conscious decision to pursue, especially for the man. Like, the man is the one who is the pursuer in a relationship. A man makes a conscious decision to pursue somebody. You know, a man is initially attracted to someone that gets his attention, and then he pursues that woman. So a man is making a deliberate and conscious decision. And I don't think it's a coincidence that these guys are going after these white women. It's not like, you know, they just happened to fall in love. They made a conscious decision that they want to pursue a white woman over a black woman. It's just that plain and simple, man. And, you know, so I just think it's pathetic that you got this guy. He's on a, you know, at the beginning of this thing, he's like shows little clips from Howard University. Apparently he does this show at Howard University, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but, you know, they use Howard as like some kind of prop for this particular program that he does. Howard is a predominantly black university. And it's just like, you're on a black campus, you know, most of your guests are black, and here you are, you know, rationalizing your lust for these white women. And it's like, that's pathetic, man. It's pathetic, especially in a situation where you have so many black women that are unable to find somebody that's quote unquote marriageable material and all that kind of stuff because of, you know, the problem of mass incarceration, because of, you know, situations where you have a large number of black men that don't even want to be with black women. You know, black men that date outside of their race. You got the black men that are homosexual. You got Also the problem of young black men being killed in their prime and stuff like that. So all these things diminish the numbers of black men that are available for black women. And then also you have the lower numbers of black men that are getting higher education and all that stuff. So it makes it more difficult for black women to find suitable black men. And then you have this guy, somebody with a large public platform, basically perpetuating the problem by talking about how and rationalizing, you know, the idea of being with a white woman and stuff like that. So yeah, I just had to hop on here and share my thoughts real quick about this, man. It's just a shame because this is one of those brothers that pretends to be woke. You know, he's always talking all this, you know, race stuff. You know, like every now and then I hear him talking about race and all this kind of stuff, racism, you know, talking about the political system and all that kind of stuff. And here he is on here cooning it up, you know, for these white women, man. It's just a disgrace, man. It's a disgrace that he would go through this and, you know, post this type of video where he's arguing with his brother over his desire to be with these white women. I think that this is pathetic, man. So let me just tune in, see what people are saying before I sign out. I may not have time right now to get to your comments, so I got to get ready for work, but let's see what we have here. Just bear with me 1 second. Oh, it's just a couple of comments. So I'll, yeah, and he did stick up for Kevin Hart. So like, you know, so somebody would get the impression that this is some conscious guy. Like, you know, he stuck up for Kevin Hart. Like he cited all these examples of white women, for instance, using anti-gay slurs and stuff like that. And he pointed out the hypocrisy in terms of the reaction and all that kind of stuff. And I get that. And I think that that's, you know, it's important to point out hypocrisy and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, so you would get the impression that this is a woke kind of person, you know, that this is somebody that knows what time it is. But here he is tap dancing, cooning it up for these white women, you know, shucking and jiving for these white women and stuff like that. And it just makes, you know, pro-black people, you know, conscious people look absolutely ridiculous, man. And there's one point that I need to touch on real briefly, and that just deals with the Nation of Islam and their theology, because, you know, while this brother from the Nation of Islam was speaking out against interracial relationships, the man that they say is God in person, you know, Farah Muhammad, according to their teachings, is a product of a biracial relationship. You know, his father, according to the Nation's teachings, was a black man and his mother was white and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's difficult for them to argue strongly against interracial relationships when their founder was a product of an interracial relationship. You know, it's difficult for them to make that argument and stuff like that. And it's difficult when they perpetuate this idea, you know, that you constantly hear that a black man and a white woman equal a black child and stuff like that, you know, and all this stuff about genetic dominance and stuff like that. And to some degree, I understand that. But when you look at it, like when you look at those situations and you see that oftentimes the products of these biracial relationships, you know, these biracial children end up in relationships with non-black people, further again diluting the black race and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just had to talk about that. So let's see what else people are saying before I sign out. Yeah, it's like Nick Cannon did dominate the discussion. Instead of it really being an interview, it just became like Nick Cannon going off about how he loves white women so much. Yeah, so it's like the brother didn't really even get a chance to make a lot of his points and stuff like that. And I think that the brother should have been more direct. Like he was being a little bit too diplomatic with Nick Cannon. He should have just went like more hard, man, and been more assertive and stuff like that. And more direct, man, instead of like beating around the bush and all that kind of stuff and trying to play the nice guy and stuff. So that was my only problem with, what he said, but I think that he made some great points as well. Yeah, so with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.